Welcome once again to another new video. This is Santu Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial, and in this video I will be covering some important MCQ questions on English literature for the upcoming CUET PG English literature exam. This is a kind of PDF. I have collected some questions from a book in the form of PDF. So without delay, let's get started with question number 1. Before starting the session, this is my humble request to all of you. Please do subscribe the channel and tap the bell icon to get more notification that I will upload in future. And please visit the playlist, that is CUET PG English Literature Mock Test. You will get all those videos that I have uploaded recently in that section. So please watch all those videos, and I hope that those videos will definitely help you to prepare in a better manner. And here is your first question on your screen. Please do answer. And if you want me to make video on a particular topic, you can type down in the comment box. You can suggest me in the comment box. I will definitely try my best to make video on those topics. So here is the first questions from this PDF. So the question number first here. Dr. Chaucer belonged to the period of 1370 to 1450, 1300 to 1400, 1340 to 1400, 1465 to 1530. So Dr. Chaucer belonged to the period of 1340 to 1400. C is the right of 1340 to 1400. Question number 2. John Gower, if match this following: John Gower, William Langland, Dr. Chaucer, Thomas Hockley. Now there are some works of these authors. So the Complaint of Our Lady, Speculum Meditentis, Piers the Plowman, The House of Fame. So John Gower has written Speculum Meditentis, whereas William Langland has written Piers the Plowman, and Thomas Hockley has written The Complaint of Our Lady, and Geoffrey Chaucer has written The House of Fame. The House of Fame was written by Geoffrey Chaucer. And I told earlier that John Gower's Speculum Meditentis was written in which language? It was written in French. It was written in French language. Okay, it was written in French language. So John Gower's Speculum Meditentis, William Langland, Piers the Plowman in Middle English, and Chaucer's The House of Fame, and Thomas Hockley has written The Complaint of Our Lady. Next question. Legend of Good Women and The Book of Darkness. These are all works written by whom? John Gower, Geoffrey Chaucer, Thomas Hockley, William Langland. Legend of Good Women, The Book of Darkness, these are written by Geoffrey Chaucer. So B is the right option. Moving on to question number 4. Identify the work which does not belong to Geoffrey Chaucer. The Canterbury Tales, Troilus and Cressida, Piers the Plowman, The Book of the Duchess. So Canterbury Tales, Troilus and Cressida, The Book of the Duchess. These three are written by Geoffrey Chaucer, whereas Piers the Plowman was written by William Langland. So B is the right option. Which is not written by, that is Piers the Plowman is not written by Geoffrey Chaucer. Next question. Which one among the following belongs to Geoffrey Chaucer? Piers the Plowman, written by William Langland. The Canterbury Tales, Legend of Good Women. So the Canterbury Tales and Legend of Good Women, these two works are written by Geoffrey Chaucer. So D is the right option. Both B and C is the right option. And here match the following: Thomas Hockley, William Dunbar, William Langland, Geoffrey Chaucer. So 1300 to 1400, 1340 to 1400. I told that Geoffrey Chaucer belongs to this period of 1340 to 1400. So this is the 2. So D equals to 2. So D2 only option is here, D2. So here A is the right option. A3, B4, C1, D2. Okay. Question number 7 is unnecessary questions. Don't need to do this. Move back to question number 8 here. Okay. Who among the following belong to the 14th century? John Gower, Geoffrey Chaucer, William Langland, all of these. So all of these are from the 14th century. Next question. Who among the following does not belong to the revival age? Thomas Mallory, Thomas Hockley, John Gower, and Thomas Mallory. Two options are given here. So it is John Gower. John Gower does not belong to the revival age. Okay. Next question. The Temple of Glass, Specula Meditentis, A House of Fame, Piers the Plowman. And here list 2. John Gower, John Lydgate, William Langland, Geoffrey Chaucer. If you match the following. So the Temple of Glass I told earlier that Speculum Medidentis is written by who? Speculum Medidentis is written by John Gower, which was written in French language. Whereas the House of Fame is written by Geoffrey Chaucer, and Piers the Plowman is written by William Langland, and John Lydgate has written Temple of Glass. The Temple of Glass was written by John Lydgate. Okay. Next question. Dash belong to the period of 1300 to 1400. So Thomas Melody, Thomas Hockley, William Langland, and Chaucer. So the question should be 1340 to 1400. Okay, so Chaucer is the right option. Chaucer belongs to the period of 1340 to 1400. So Chaucer is the right option. Question number 12 is unnecessary. 13. Which work among the following does not belong to John Lydgate? Story of Thieves, The House of Fame, a treatise on the astrolabe. Does not belong to John Lydgate. A treatise on the astrolabe and the House of Fame. These are not actually belong to John Lydgate, whereas Story of Thieves is the so which is not belong to. So both B and C does not belong to John Lydgate. So Story of Thieves actually written by John Lydgate, The House of Fame, and Treatise on Astrolabe, which are all written by who? All written by that is Chaucer. Okay. Number 14. Thomas Melody, Thomas Moore, Tottel, that is Richard Tottel, then it is Chaucer actually. The option was given wrong, so I corrected it. So, and list 2 there are some options. A treatise on the astrolabe, Maud the author, Utopia, Miscellany. So, Thomas Moore has written Utopia, whereas Thomas Mallory has written Maud the author, and Tottel is a publisher who has published the first English anthology of poems, that is Tottel's Miscellany. So Tottel is related to Miscellany, where Chaucer has written the prose work, that is a treatise on the astrolabe. So Chaucer is related to a treatise on the astrolabe. Thomas Mallory has written Maud the Author, and Thomas Moore has written Utopia, and Tottel has published the first anthology of poems in English, that is Tottel's Miscellany, and the full name of Tottel is Richard Tottel. Next question. Question number 50. Okay. Consider the following statements. Dunbar was born in 1465. This is wrong. Chaucer wrote the Temple of Grass. It is not grass, actually it is glass. So it was written by John Lydgate. This is also wrong. Miscellany was written by Tottel. Tottel has not written Miscellany. Rather, Tottel is the publisher. He has to publish the Miscellany. So these all options are wrong. So some options are wrong here. That's why I have chosen single sentence. So Dunbar was born in 1464. This is wrong. Chaucer wrote the Temple of Glass. Wrong. It was written by John Lydgate. Miscellany was written by Tottel. No. Miscellany was written by. Miscellany was actually published by Tottel. Okay. And Miscellany is the collection of poems, first anthology of poems in English. That was published by Tottel, Richard Tottel. Identify the works which does not belong to Edmund Spenser. Astrophel, Othello, Macbeth. So Othello and Macbeth does not belong to the Edmund Spenser. So Astrophel is written actually on Philip Sidney. So Astrophel actually is written on Philip Sidney. Edmund Spenser has written Astrophel on Philip Sidney. So Othello and Macbeth does not belong to Edmund Spenser. So D is the right answer. Okay. Shakespeare, Spenser, Sidney, Drayton. So Shakespeare was born in 1564 and died in 1666. So one option is given here, A equals to 3, A 3. So there one option is given here. So C is the right option. Shakespeare between 64 and 1666 died in 1666. Moving on to question number 18. Which of the following authors belong to the 16th century? Belongs to the 16th century. Tottel, Thomas Moore, Shakespeare, John Milton. So it was Shakespeare. Shakespeare belonged to the 16th century because he was born in 1564 and died in 1660. So 1564 to 1616. Okay. Moving on to question number 21 here. Then this 21. Match the following: Spenser, Sidney, Drayton, Shakespeare. Spenser, Sidney, Drayton. Spenser has written an apology for poetry. An apology for poetry. Drayton has Shakespeare has written King Lear, and that is sorry, Sydney has written, yeah, Sydney has written. I'm actually sorry here. Okay, let's erase it. Okay. So Sydney has written, Spencer has written Amority, whereas Sydney has written an apology for poetry, and Shakespeare has written King Lear, and Drayton has written the Battle of Agincourt. So Michael Drayton has written the Battle of Agincourt, Shakespeare has written the King Lear, and Sydney has written an apology for poetry, whereas Spencer has written Amority, collection of sonnets and poems. Okay. Next question. Shakespeare 1564 to 1616. So this one. A equals to 2. A equals to 2. So C is the right option. Next question. Question number 23. Okay. This is unnecessary. 24. Consider the following statements. Marlowe wrote Holophony. False. Shakespeare was born in 1560. False. Sidney's work include Hamlet. False. So all the words are incorrect. Which are incorrect? 1, 2, 3 are incorrect. Utopia was published. Match the following. List 1, list 2. Utopia, the Fairy Queen, Amority, Astropher and Stella. So Utopia was published in 1516. Utopia first published in 1516. Then the Fairy Queen, Amority and Astropher and Stella. So here that is A equals to 3. A3 is the only option here given. B, so B equals to 4, that is B equals to 4, that means here Fairy Queen is published in 1590, and C equals to 2, that is Amority. Amority published in 1595, and then Astrophel and Stella published in 1591. Fairy Queen's first edition was published in 1590 actually. Okay. Moving on to question number 26. Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, George Steele, Robert Greene. And there are some works of those authors. Shakespeare has written Hamlet, whereas Ben Jonson has written Holophony, and George Steele has written Famous Chronicles of King Edward the First, and Robert Greene has written Pandosto. Robert Greene has written Pandosto. George Steele has written the Famous Chronicle of King Edward I, and Ben Jonson has written Holophony, whereas Shakespeare has written Hamlet. 27 we don't need to this 28 also. Moving on to question number, because some questions are wrong, options are given wrong. So question number 29. England's heroic epistle was written in 1597, 1595, 1560. 1587. So England's heroic epistle was written in 1597. 1597 is the right answer. Philip Sidney belonged to the period of 1514 to 1590, 1564 to 1616, 1554 to 1586, 1560 to 1631. So Philip Sidney belonged to the period of 1554 to 1586. This question is also unnecessary. Question number 31. This. Moving on to question number 32. An apology for poetry, Ethiopia, the comedy of errors, King Lear. So an apology for poetry was published in 1595. 1595. And Ethiopia was published in 1516. Ethiopia first published in 1516. So here A equals to 2 and B equals to 3. A equals to 2 and B equals to 3. Only option. And so C equals to 4. King Lear published in 1608. C equals to, sorry, C equals to, yeah, C equals to 4. So that is 1623. In the first 1623. Okay. King Lear in 1623. Whereas Utopia 1516. Comedy of Errors in 1608. And Apology for Poetry 1595. Okay. So an Apology for Poetry was published in 1595. Whereas Utopia published in 1516. Comedy of Errors was published in 1608, whereas King Lear in the first quarter 1623. Okay. Next question. Antony and Cleopatra, the Comedy of Errors. These are written by William Shakespeare. Okay. Next question. Oh, 34, 35, one more to this. 37. George Peele, Michael Drayton, Thomas Kidd, Ben Jonson. George Peele, Michael Drayton, Thomas Kidd. The poetess, the famous chronicles of King Edward I, the Spanish tragedy, the Battle of Agnico. So the famous chronicle of King Edward I, I earlier told that it was written by George Peele. George Peele. Okay. Thomas Kidd has written the Spanish tragedy. Thomas Kidd is sometimes known as regarded as one of the university wits. Okay, and the term university wits was coined by Sainsbury. George Sainsbury has coined the term university wits. So Thomas Kidd, one of the university wits, has written the Spanish tragedy, whereas Ben Jonson has written the Poetess, and George Peele has written the famous chronicles of King Edward I, and Michael Drayton has written the Battle of Agnico. Okay, so here A4 George, sorry, that is B4. Okay, moving on to question number 38. Which work among the following does not belong to Ben Jonson? The Mask of Beauty, The Alchemist, Pandosto, the Poetasta. Poetasta is written by Ben Jonson. Alchemist written by Alchemist, Alchemist, The Mask of Beauty. These two also are written by Ben Jonson. So Pandosto actually written by Robert Greene. Robert Greene has written Pandosto. So here B is the right option, which does not belong. Does not belong. Pandosto does not belong. Okay. Moving on to question number 42. Tamburlaine the Great, Dr. Faustus was written by Marlowe. Christopher Marlowe has written Tamburlaine the Great and Dr. Faustus. Robert Greene, Tortel, John Webster, Thomas Long. So here John Webster has written The White Devil, Thomas Lodge, and Robert Greene has written Pandosto, and Tortel has published Tortel's Miscellany, and The Wounds of Civil War. The Wounds of Civil War is written by Thomas Lodge. The Wounds of Civil War was written by Thomas Lodge. So Robert Greene, Pandosto, Tortel's Miscellany, John Webster, The White Devil, and Thomas Lodge has written The Wounds of Civil War. Next question. Which among the following belong to the Christopher Marlowe? The Jew of Malta, Dr. Faustus, New Letters. So it is actually both A and B. Jew of Malta, Dr. Faustus were written by Christopher Marlowe. Next question. Identify from the following authors who belong to 17th century. John Dryden, George Peele, John Donne, both A and B. So 17th century, that is, you have John Dryden and John Donne. So both A and B. Now Francis Bacon, John Webster, Walter Raleigh, Andrew Marvell. Francis Bacon has written The New Atlantis. John Webster has written The White Devil, and Andrew Marvell has written New Letters, whereas Walter Raleigh has written History of the World. Francis Bacon, New Atlantis, John Webster, The White Devil, and Andrew Marvell has written New Letters. Next question. To which poem is the famous poem and is the famous work by the metaphysical poet Andrew Marvell? Next question. Identify the work from the following which does not belong to John Milton. Paradise Lost written by the Spanish tragedy Pandosto. So Pandosto is not written by John Milton. Spanish tragedy is not written by Thomas Kidd. So both B and C is the right option, whereas Paradise Lost was written by John Milton, and Paradise Regained, this was also written by John Milton. Next question. 54. Francis Bacon belonged to the period 1561 to 1626. Francis Bacon belonged to the period 1561 to 1626. To which poem mistress New Letters are the famous works of Andrew Marvell. Andrew Marvell has written To Which Poem Mistress New Letters. Moving on to question number 56. Which work among the following belong to the Richard Crasso? That is here New Letters actually written by I told that it was written by Andrew Marvell, so this is wrong. The Spanish tragedy, that is Thomas Kidd, The White Devil by John Webster. So Steps to the Temple is the remaining one. So Steps to the Temple was written by Richard Crasso. Richard Crasso has written Steps to the Temple. Now your question number 57. John Milton has written Lycidas. Richard Crasso has written Steps to the Temple, I had mentioned. John Dryden has written the Fables, whereas Andrew Marvell has written New Letters. John Milton Lycidas, Richard Crasso Steps to the Temple, John Dryden The Fables, Andrew Marvell New Letters. Next question. Which of the following work does not belong to John Dryden? Aurangzeb written by John Dryden, The Fables Dryden, Love in a Wood, Macflino. Macflino is also written by John Dryden, whereas Love in a Wood is the right option, and Love in a Wood was written by William Wycherley. The restoration playwright William Wycherley has written Love in a Wood, who is a restoration playwright. So Love in a Wood is the right option. Identify the wrong statement from the following. John Dryden was born in 1600. This is wrong also. John Milton wrote the fables. No, it was John Dryden. False. John Donne's works include the ecstasy. John Donne's work. John Donne has written ecstasy. So only which are correct, incorrect. Which are incorrect. So 1 and 2. That is 1 and 2. And C is the right options. 1 and 2 are incorrect. Next question. Here, who among the following belong to the period 1631 to 1700? John Donne, John Dryden, Milton, Francis Bacon. So it was John Dryden. John Dryden belonged to the period 1631 to 1700. Next question. Charles Dickens, George Meredith, Robert Louis Stevenson, T.S. Eliot, kidnapper. It is actually kidnapper. It is actually kidnapped. It is not kidnapper. It is kidnapped. Bleak House, Harrington. It is not Harrington. It is other. It is called Even Harrington. Even Harrington. The Hollow Man. So Charles Dickens has written Bleak House, whereas George Meredith has written the novel called Even Harrington. Even Harrington. And Robert Louis Stevenson has written Kidnapped. Robert Louis Stevenson has written Kidnapped, whereas T.S. Eliot has written The Hollow Man. Okay. Alexander's Feast, Macflino are famous works of John Dryden, none of these John Milton. So Alexander's Feast, Macflino are all famous works of John Dryden. John Dryden has written Alexander's Feast and Macflino. Moving on to question number 63. John Donne belonged to the period of 1573 to 1631, 1570 to 1630, 1631 to 1700, or 1580 to 1625. So John Donne belonged to the period of 1573 to 1631. Identify the work from the following which does not belong to John Donne. Laugh in a Wood, The Country Wife, Song and Sonnets. Song and Sonnets is written by John Donne, whereas Laugh in a Wood and The Country Wife, these two are written by the restoration playwright called William Wycherley. So both A and B are the right option. Laugh in a Wood and The Country Wife were written by William Wycherley. John Milton's works includes Paradise Lost, El Figaro or El Fenice, and Paradise Regained. So all of these were written by Paradise Lost, El Figaro, and Paradise Regained. These are all written by John Milton. Next question. Identify the prose writers from the following: John Locke, Samuel Pepys, Francis Bacon, all of them. So all of them are actually prose writers. Next question: which of the following works belongs to John Bunyan? Diary, Grace Abounding. Grace Abounding is written by John Bunyan. Holy War was written by John Bunyan. So both B and C, and Diary is actually written by Samuel Pepys. So both B and C each the right option. D is the right option. John Bunyan has written Grace Abounding, The Holy War, and as well as The Pilgrim Progress, whereas the Diary was written by Samuel Pepys. Samuel Pepys belonged to the period of 1633 to 1703. 1633 to 1703. Sorry. Treatise on Government, Thoughts on Education are the famous works of John Locke. John Locke has written Treatise on the Government or Thoughts on Education. Next question. Okay. John Locke, John Bunyan, Samuel Pepys, Alexander Pope. So John Locke has written Thoughts on Education, whereas John Bunyan has written The Holy Word, and Samuel Pepys has written, he is a diary writer, so he has written diary, and Alexander Pope has written Dunciad, Pope's Dunciad, the famous work Pope's the Dunciad. Okay. Which of the following literary figure does not belong to 18th century? Does not belong to 18th century. Pope, Goldsmiths, Gray, they all belong to 18th century, whereas Shakespeare does not belong to 18th century. Identify the work from the following which belongs to Alexander Pope. An essay on man, Windsor of Forest, the Hermit. So an essay on man is actually written by Alexander Pope. Windsor of Forest was also written by Alexander Pope, whereas the Hermit is actually written by Oliver Goldsmith. Oliver Goldsmith has written the Hermit. So both B and C are the right. D is the right options. A and C is written by Alexander Pope, an essay on man or and Windsor Forest. Okay, whereas the Hermit was written by Oliver Goldsmith. Vicar of Wakefield, and She Stoops to Conquer are the famous works written by Oliver Goldsmith. Oliver Goldsmith has written The Vicar of Wakefield and She Stoops to Conquer. Next question, question number 78. Thomas Gray, Oliver Goldsmith, Samuel Johnson, Alexander Pope. Now you're on the list too. There are some works: The Adventurer, The Windsor Forest, The Hermit, The Fatal Sisters. So here, Windsor Forest is written by Alexander Pope. Windsor Forest, Alexander Pope. Whereas Oliver Goldsmith has written the poem The Hermit. Okay. So that is B equals to 3. B3, and Thomas Gray actually written by Thomas Gray has written The Fatal Sister. Yeah. Thomas Gray has written The Fatal Sisters, and here Samuel Johnson has written The Adventurer. So The Adventurer was written by Samuel Johnson, Windsor Forest was written by Alexander Pope, and The Hermit was written by Oliver Goldsmith. The Fatal Sisters was written by Thomas Gray. Next question. Question number 80. Identify the work from the following which does not belong to Thomas Gray. Deserted Village, London. So the Deserted Village actually written by Oliver Goldsmith, whereas London poem written by William Blake. So both A and B is the right option. C is the right option, whereas Progress of Poesy was written by Thomas Gray. Next question. William Collins, Jonathan Swift, Daniel Defoe, Thomas Gray. So this is William Collins, Jonathan Swift, Daniel Defoe, Thomas Gray. Now William Collins has written Ode to Evening. Ode to Evening was written by William Collins, whereas Jonathan Swift has written A Tale of a Tough. A Tale of a Tough was written by Jonathan Swift, and Daniel Defoe has written the novel Moll Flanders, and Thomas Gray has written The Progress of Poesy. So The Progress of Poesy was written by Thomas Gray. Daniel Defoe has written Moll Flanders. Ode to Evening was written by William Collins, and Jonathan Swift has written A Tale of a Tough. Moving on to question number 83. The work which does not belong to Samuel Johnson is The Vanity of Human Wishes, written by Samuel Johnson. Preface to Shakespeare was also written by Samuel Johnson. The Rambler is also related to Samuel Johnson, whereas Ode to Simplicity does not belong to him. Ode to Simplicity was written by William Collins. William Collins has written Ode to Evening and Ode to Simplicity. Next question. Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders are the famous works of Daniel Defoe. Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders. Henry Fielding's works include Tom Jones, Jonathan Wild the Gallant, Gulliver's Travels. So Henry Fielding has written the picaresque novel Tom Jones, and Jonathan Wild the Great. So both A and B is the right option, whereas Gulliver's Travels is not written by, it was written by Swift. So Jonathan Swift has written Gulliver's Travels. So C is the right option. So both A and B is the right option. Tom Jones and Jonathan Wild the Great were written by Henry Fielding. Next question. A Tale of a Tap and Journal Stella, The Battle of Books are the famous works of Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift has written A Tale of Tap, Journal to Stella, and The Battle of the Books. These are famous works written by Jonathan Swift. Next question, question number a minute. Question number 91. Identify the works which does not belong to Samuel Richardson. Tom Jones, Small Fenders, Robinson Crusoe, all of these. So Tom Jones, Henry Fielding, Small Fenders, Henry Fielding, Robinson Crusoe, Daniel Defoe. So all of these are not the works of, not the works of Samuel Richardson. All of this is the right answer. Does not belong. Pamela, Clarissa Harlowe are the famous works of Henry Fielding, Samuel Richardson, Samuel Johnson, Horace Walpole. So Samuel Richardson has written Pamela and Clarissa Harlowe. Match the following. Castle of Otranto is written by Horace Walpole. Horace Walpole has written Castle of Otranto. Clarissa Harlowe, I earlier mentioned right now, that it was written by Samuel Richardson. Okay. Memoirs of Cavalier and the Battle of the Books. The Battle of the Books is written by Jonathan Swift, whereas Daniel Defoe has written the Memoirs of a Cavalier. The Memoirs of a Cavalier, Daniel Defoe. Daniel Defoe has written the Memoirs of a Cavalier. Jonathan Swift written the Battle of the Books, and Clarissa Harlowe by Samuel Richardson, and the Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. Next question. Identify the poets who belong to the Romantic age. Romantic age. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, William Wordsworth, Horace Walpole. This is wrong. So both A and B. Next question. Samuel Taylor Coleridge match the following. Wordsworth, Keats, Defoe. Samuel Taylor Coleridge is related to Christabel. William Wordsworth's Lucy Gray. John Keats' Ode to Autumn, and Daniel Defoe, that is Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe was written by Defoe. John Keats has written Ode to Autumn. Christabel was written by Coleridge, and William Wordsworth has written Lucy poem, Lucy Gray. Next question, 97. Which of the following work does not belong to William Wordsworth? Rainbow, Prelude, the Lyrical Ballads. Prelude, the Lyrical Ballads, the Rainbow, these are all. Whereas Kubla Khan was written by S.T. Coleridge. S.T. Coleridge has written Kubla Khan. So Kubla Khan is the right answer. Moving on to question number 99. As the following. The Daffodils, Destiny of Nature, Ode to Psyche, Castle of Otranto. So Daffodils was written by William Wordsworth. Destiny of Nations was written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Whereas Ode to Psyche is written by John Keats, and Castle of Otranto is written by Horace Walpole. Horace Walpole has written Castle of Otranto. Ode to Psyche by John Keats. Destiny of Nations was written by S.T. Coleridge, and Daffodils was written by William Wordsworth. Next question. If the following works belongs to S.T. Coleridge: Tintern Abbey, Lucy Gray, The Rainbow, Dejection and Ode. That is Dejection and Ode. Dejection and Ode was written by S.T. Coleridge. Next question. Youth and Age, Kubla Khan, Christabel are the famous works of S.T. Coleridge. Youth and Age, Kubla Khan, Christabel are the famous works written by S.T. Coleridge. 103. Identify the work from the following which belongs to John Keats. Ode to Nightingale, Ode to Psyche, Ode to Autumn, all of this. So all of these were written by Keats. Ode to Nightingale, Ode to Psyche, Ode to Autumn. On first looking into Chapman's Homer was written by John Keats. John Keats' first work, that is On First Looking into Chapman's Homer. C is the right answer. The Eve of St. Mark, Destiny of Nations, Tintern Abbey, Ode to Simplicity. The Eve of St. Mark was written by John Keats. Destiny of Nations, I earlier mentioned the Destiny of Nations was written by whom? It was written by S.T. Coleridge. And Tintern Abbey by William Wordsworth, whereas William Collins has written Ode to Simplicity, and he has also written Ode to Evening. Ode to Evening, Ode to Simplicity, these are two works, these are two words written by William Collins. Next question. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, it has 7 parts. It's a ballad poem written by S.T. Coleridge, and it was included in the first edition of Lyrical Ballads that was published in 1798. So Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Biography Literaria are the famous works of S.T. Coleridge. So S.T. Coleridge is the right option, and Rime of the Ancient Mariner has 7 parts, and the Rime of the Ancient Mariner was included in the first edition of Lyrical Ballads that was published in 1798 by Wordsworth and Coleridge. Christabel, Kubla Khan, Destiny of Nations are the famous works of H.T. Coleridge. Christabel and Kubla Khan, Destiny of Nations, these are all works written by Samuel